Hello and welcome back to another episode, and it feels like an eternity since I've actually spoken to you. I was talking to Chris, Helo's World, this morning, and I told him I can't believe how worn out I am, like how burnt out I am. I've been trying to do a YouTube video every day. I've pretty been successful for the most part. I think I missed one on the 1st of January because obviously I had to drive up to Newcastle, and I've been doing shorts where I literally had other things on, or have been that exhausted I really couldn't do a video. So it's been very, very, very busy here, doing a lot of stock take, a lot of cleaning. Today I'm going to actually tell you or show you the process of destroying a niche. To sound egotistical. So this niche per se, it's not really a niche, it's actually a sub-niche of Skylanders. So as you can see, my beloved Skylanders over there, and I have cleaned up behind me. I know a few people mentioned a green screen or something along to that. For complete transparency, all this stuff here, and I think I've said it before, board games, I'm actually walking into this niche, I'm only really dipping my toe in it as such, and I really haven't got the grasp of what sells and what doesn't sell. What I'm finding sells quite quickly, and I did show the other day with Zombicide, is that brand new and sealed stuff, where Skylanders are primarily 99.9% of the Skylanders I sell are loose characters. They're loose figures. People are actually happy to buy them loose. So I naturally thought that would transfer to a degree, not like a huge degree, to complete pre-owned board games. But I'm finding that that's not really the thing. So pretty much I think from about, I'll just say there onwards, I'm probably going to clear out on Facebook Marketplace. I paid about $4, $5 each for those board games. I bought them in a big, massive lot. Probably you may have remembered about October, November last year if you were watching from that way. But there are some board games that are opened and pre-owned and complete that do go for insane amounts of money. Like I was saying the other day, Space Hulk, that was technically pre-owned because it was open. It was out of the shrink wrap. That went for about $800, $700, I can't remember. And I've got one at the moment that's probably looking at going about $250 plus all the expansions as well, because it's out of print. Out of print is the big thing for board games if you're getting that way. So as I alluded to, I'm going to show you how I'm potentially going to destroy another niche within, another sub-niche within Skylanders. And it's something that I haven't particularly liked or haven't been particularly interested in, primarily because it's not glamorous, I suppose, for lack of a better term. What I find is that it took me a very, very, very long time to get to the point where I actually sat down for a day and took photos of individual Skylanders, made the variation listings up. It was agonizing, to say the least. It was crazy. I didn't want to sit still. I was constantly trying to find distractions. This was before I was medicated, right? But now that I am a little bit, I suppose, taking my power pills, if I can spit it out, I do have that longer attention span. So I'm in the process of doing the same now. And if you haven't already worked out, it's the portals, the Skylander portals. I normally put them aside because I won't say I find them junk, but like I said, I don't find them interesting. You have to test them, you have to clean them, which you need to do with the Skylanders anyway, and all those different things. So what I've done is I've finally caved in, done the variation listing up, in the process of populating it now. There's one of my main competitors, like I was saying, the big three in the Skylander space. I have graduated to the big three now. Look at me go. I was top 5, now I'm top 3. So one of my biggest competitors, probably number 2, I dare say, he's into the portals. And what I do suggest, if you are looking into a niche or if you are aware of someone's store, I'm notorious for it, right? So if I know someone or someone advertises their store, this is not anyone in particular, but if I come across someone and I know they are selling things, I will go to their store, go to sold listings, seeing what's selling. If I can find something that's a replenishable, if it's a one-off Octopus t-shirt, I won't give it a second thought, right? But I will do is I'll actually go in there and see what they've sold quite consistently. Then what I'll do is I'll actually search that niche, see how saturated it is. If there's not much saturation or it's got a very, very, very high sell-through rate, so that obviously the demand outweighs the supply, I'll start sourcing that product as well. And I will give you an example. So hopefully they don't watch. These are the Squid Game candies. I think I made mention to a couple of days ago in a couple of videos. they were primarily what I stumbled across in someone's store. So what I did is I actually went down to McDonald's before you could buy these separately. You can't buy them anymore, so I'm happy to let the cat out of the bag, but Salem's still inside, so I'm really bad with my dad jokes today. So what I did is I normally go to the McDonald's directly across from my, hence, why I'm fat, across the road from my work pretty much almost every day in the morning just to get a skim milk coffee, so it's not as if I'm, powering down Macca's. So I know the manager there, and I actually asked him if I could buy them separately. And she said, yeah, you can buy them separately. So next door, I went around later in the day to buy a 10-pack of the Squid Game candies. Then she came out, she said, hey, well, a different manager came out. She goes, oh, thanks for buying those. We have another 5 boxes. I was like, perfect. So I went and bought the extra 5 boxes. So I got, these are $5 each. Bought the 6 boxes or the 5.5 boxes, whatever it worked out to be, and have been punching through them on a pretty consistent basis. They have slowed down. Obviously, the die-hard Squid Game stuff is starting to taper off. My main market for these is the people in the US. So, like I said, I normally fit 2 or 3 of these into under 250 grams. Then they go off, then go from that way. I make probably $5 or $6 profit on one, which is not a phenomenal amount of money, right? So I'm only doubling my money. That's after fees and postage. However, they were selling consistent enough, and they go pretty crazy, right? The reason why I'm keeping on to them, and I think I've got like 60 or 70 left, they're paid for themselves now. So all the rest that I have will basically be pure profit. What I'm holding them for is because the second part of season 2 of Squid Games is coming out in July or August, I can't remember, and I believe that this will trigger this again. So we'll have your die-hard McDonald's advertising collectors, you'll have your Squid Game collectors, so it's obviously branching into 2 or 3 niches, which I've said before. And what I've done for this particular one is I actually paid the 6 cents extra to advertise in fast food advertising category, and also whatever Squid Games comes under, collectibles or something. I'm not too sure what I did. But like I'm saying is that I'm not too sure because eBay doesn't give me the data to say it's selling through this category or selling through that one. But like I'm saying is that if you do come across them in the wild, they're about $5 a piece. It may, and they're best before date because they are a candy. It tastes like kind of burnt golden syrup to me. So if you're in Australia, that's what it tastes like. If you're in America, I don't know what your comparison is. Each to your own. But like I was saying is that if you come across them, it might be worth putting them away till the second part of season 2 comes out in July. Then they should start going off the shelf, and you probably command a higher price. So my price at the moment, I think I'm running a 10% coupon, so they're probably about $13.49. They are $15. However, once the supply starts dwindling down to maybe me or one other has the stock, I'll probably bunch the price up to about $20, $25 a piece. So obviously go from that way. So that's one way of sourcing if you want to be a little bit sneaky, a little bit dodgy. All's fair in love and war, I suppose, because people probably do it to my store and as to everyone else as well. So, not necessarily condone it. However, that's what it is. Going back to the portals. So like I was saying is that I normally bin these, or not bin them, but put them in tubs and tubs and tubs. And I can't tell you how many tubs of these that I have sitting on the side of the garage. I've cleared out the ones behind me on the bottom shelf. So I'm in the process of testing them and going through that way. So I will do a variation. Well, the variation listing's live. I have cut off the market because I've promoted it an obscene amount. So when you type in Skylander Portals, it's probably going to be mine or the other guy that comes up first. So we're doing that. And what if I don't get much traction, I'm actually going to start destroying the market in the sense of I'm going to make the new market price. So how does that work? So generally speaking, if you've got a stock standard portal here, so this is this is the first portal that came out, right? So this particular one is for Xbox 360, and I have mentioned this before for other people, that this portal will only work on Xbox 360. There is one that just says on the bottom, Portal of Power, which will play on the PlayStation, the Wii, and all those different ones. The Xbox 360 and the Xbox One have their own dedicated portals, and they won't, obviously 360 for 360 and Xbox One for Xbox One. They won't work on any other console except for the one they specifically say on the bottom. So if it says Microsoft, you could be onto a winner. So generally speaking, this is probably about a $10 portal. Because it's an Xbox 360 one, they're quite a slow turn. So I'd probably make this about $7.50 plus postage, go from that way. So I'm bringing the bringing the market down to my price point to set that market rate, to make it less attractive for people to come in and compete with me. I get these virtually cents on the dollar. So when people reach out to me, bulk lots and all these different things, and I had Christian Forest Finds online, thanks mate, reach out to me a couple of days ago and tell me Skylanders, I don't count the portals. So there's a couple of portals which I will talk a little bit later that I do focus on, and I will give a price point for, but generally speaking, I don't take these in consideration because I used to throw them out. So if you do want to have a couple that you want to look out for, these are the 3DS ones. So they're quite rare. So these ones are actually ran by IR. We'll go with that. So they're not synced in with like little USB chips and all these different things. They're primarily linked to the 3DS. That little blue light there, it's got batteries in it, so it means it's working perfectly. So you can put your characters on. I do test them all. So I do have 3DS games in there as well, so I test them before I put them on. So this one is your Swap Force one. This one probably is around that $90 mark, probably $100 mark, depending on flavour of the week. They're quite rare to come across. So when you come across them in the wild, 99%, talking from experience, and selling a lot of Skylanders, 99% of these are completely trash. So they will have battery acid through all of them, completely. I have seen things with no battery coils left because the batteries have just completely decimated it. There are people that will clean them. If you're that way inclined, probably clean them. Personally, as soon as I see battery acid, I throw it out. That falls back into my stance of actually selling only products that are 100% complete or pristine. Like I was saying, I want to be the Gucci or the Calvin Klein. Not that way inclined, but of the Skylanders, right? I want to be the premium experience. I don't want to be the person that sells trash, which I don't really have any here at the moment. I did have some around. I've got 2 big crates full of, speaking of which, this is a bag of it, right? So this is Skylanders that don't pass the test. So these are the ones I normally would donate to the kid around the corner, but I think he's gotten to the point where he's probably got more of a complete set than me. Like I was saying, he's missing his sword. Show and tell with Minion J. Sorry for this. So this guy here, this is called Thunderbolt. He's normally a $60 character by himself, but he's missing his sword. So I could easily glue the sword back on, put it up for $60 and pretend I'm, play stupid if anyone finds out. But that doesn't worry. I'd rather forego the $50, $60 for the character than to tarnish my reputation. So, speaking of tarnishing my reputation, I actually had a negative feedback the other day. I was selling a Jim Shaw Wicked Witch statuette. I'm not too sure what you'd class them as, I really think. Used to be a big wallow, right? Jim Shaw, if I found it on Facebook Marketplace, I'd run out, grab them, come back, put them on eBay. They'd sell pretty quick, pretty much domestically and internationally. It was really a 50-50 mix for that one. But they've since died off, Jim Shaw. I'm not too sure. There's too many Shaws in one Shaw line. Anyway, get by the side of the fact. So this lady sent me an offer for a Jim Shaw. Then I reached out to her and said, hey, look, do you have a VAT code or something along that? And she wrote back, I don't know, cancel the order. And then, long story short, this is how burnt out I am. She left me a negative feedback saying that I've accepted the order, then I cancelled without explanation. But in my infinite wisdom, I actually replied to her feedback, and you will hear a lot of people say if you reply to feedback, eBay can't remove it, which is complete bullcrap. I can tell you right now, I respond to all my negative feedback and all my neutral feedback, probably more neutral than negative. So they do it 99% of the time. So what I did is I wrote back saying, the item's in transit. I'll reach out to her and explain what's going on. I'll help her with that thing. But I actually mixed it up with someone else. It's actually, she wanted to cancel it. I haven't got around to getting to eBay to remove the negative feedback yet. I don't know if I can bother to tell you the truth. There was a period of time, and maybe this is a side effect of the medication. There was a part of the time, or a point in time, even better English, that I probably would get straight onto eBay and slap the keys together and get really angry and say, hey, look, this is bullshit. I expect you to remove it. Chuck a man tanty and all those different things. But now I really don't care. Like, one negative feedback over the last 12 months, it probably reaffirms to a customer base that I'm human. Yeah, I do make mistakes. I have responded to the comment correctly or incorrectly, probably more incorrectly in this one, to show people if there is an issue, I am more than happy to rectify it. I will reach out. So if anything, yeah, yes, it's a negative. However, if people do click on that negative, they can say, hey, well, look, he's replied, he's trying to help that person out. So like I was saying, is that do not be one of these people, and I see it all the time. You could probably go to any seller with less than 100% feedback, look at their negatives. A vast majority, well, not a vast majority, a majority may reply to it, and it will be a verbal spray. Like, this buyer's, pisses me off, and this buyer's this, and this buyer's that, and this buyer's that. What's that going to prove? Yeah, like, literally, what's that going to prove? Yeah, that if there is an issue with the item or with the service, if they reach out to you, you're gonna give them a spray. So I'd highly recommend, do not do that. It's probably in your best interest not to do it. So before I get into the portals and before I show you how to destroy a market, well, I pretty much already told you how I'm going to do it anyway. I did mention for my American audience, Yokai Watch 2 Psychic Spectres. Look at that, I can speak in one sentence this time. So obviously keep an eye out that one of my viewers, lack of a better term, wrote in the comments, I'm going to call you pepperoni pizza because I'm pretty sure it's pepperoni cheese or something like that, but I can't. I'm just going to call you pepperoni pizza because that's what comes to my mind whenever I see a comment. He said, look, what about Yokai 3, which goes for obscene amount of money? So going back to what I spoke about earlier is that I wasn't, I knew that Yokai Watch 3 existed, but it wasn't on my radar, right? So the reason why I said those Psychic Spectre games the other day, because I actually went and picked up a couple from the guy I know around the corner. So that's why I dropped it in there for. However, he mentioned to me at the time that he had Yokai 3, and because of pepperoni pizza, it twigged my interest. And he said, look, hey, I'm putting it on eBay because, it goes for obscene amounts of money. And I was like, oh, okay, playing dumb like I do, because this guy's a reseller without saying. It's almost like a Mexican standoff with two people that are resellers that not without saying we're reselling. So he goes, I'm going to put it on eBay because it goes for obscene amounts of money. But this guy, he normally sells on Facebook Marketplace. He doesn't really dabble too much in on eBay. And you probably look at the sold listings for Yokai Watch 3 and work out who he is and how much I paid for it. So, you're more than welcome to do that. So anyway, he puts it up on what I would deem the lethal way to sell items on eBay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a hint. So if you're brand new, follow these steps according to me, or don't. I don't particularly care, but just take heed of what I'm telling you. He put on an auction, which is a first a no-go, right? Second, he had the auctions for 2 days, which is also a no-go. And thirdly, he had the auction stopping today at 10 o'clock on an Australia Day where people are probably out celebrating barbecues and all these different things, to end at about 10 o'clock, 10:30, whatever it was. So those are 3 things that went against him. I know probably people will counter the second point with a 2-day thing. Pretty sure I watched it off Tori's video, and I have seen it on other people as well, is that eBay recommends the 7-day journey, I suppose, for a better term, because it may take 24 hours to populate the system and send the notifications out to people like me saying this has been listed, bid now, whatever it is. So if you are going to list anything, list it for auction. Make sure it's literally one of a kind, which this is, right? So I don't know why he did it. List it to end on either a Sunday night from about 9 p.m. I'd go from 8:30 to 9:30, around that sweet spot. Make it 7 days, and you can always schedule it. So if you can't meet that window, schedule it, then run it through for the 7 days. There are circumstances that people will bid, to obscene amounts of money, then not pay. Then you have to do the cycle again. Personally, I don't use auctions for the simple fact of that, right? So in the last week, I've had 4 subsequential buyers, right, from different parts. One from the US, one from Brazil, and 2 from Australia that have bought items almost after each other, right? With the course of a day, that haven't paid. One was a VHS, one was a very expensive Skylander, and a video game, and something else. I can't remember what it is. So it was a completely eclectic mix of everything in my store, right? So it wasn't 4 Skylanders or it wasn't 4 board games to the one person and all these different things, which I found really strange. I haven't had a non-paying bidder for 3 months, if anything. Like, it's literally to have 4 almost subsequent orders for that to happen is just unheard of, especially for me. So let me know in the comment section below if you do have any non-paying buys, or if you have found a lot more non-paying buys come through. Listen, the structure of it. It's been a while since I've done a video. So yeah, like I say, let me know if you do have that, because I haven't really had many people come across non-paying. So it's always interesting to see what it is. What I have said before about how I handle non-paying buyers, generally to me, if they haven't paid within the first 6 hours, generally a lot of I don't require immediate payment. I find that people automatically will pay almost immediately anyway, because they want it, they're checking out at the same time, or they'll pay within 6 hours. They might be driving just to leave the office, so they might be leaving home, and they'll go, well, I'll pay when I'm at the office, or I'll pay when I get home, or whatever the circumstances are, right? So I normally give them a 6-hour window. If they haven't paid within the first 24 hours, I deem it as a write-off. The follow-through rate on these people that don't pay after 24 hours is probably 15 to 20% from the data that I've got over the years. So what I normally do is I'll send them a payment reminder. Don't send them another invoice, because what happens, that will actually reset you 4 days. After the second day, so we're looking at 48 hours, and I've spoken about this before, I will add them to the block list. Then on the second, it's probably on the second day as well, actually. So I'll add them to the block list, and I'll also add them to, relist that item. The way I look at it is that if I've sent them a payment reminder, if I send them an invoice, if they're overseas in America or UK, for example, and they haven't responded to that, they're probably not going to respond. So I don't necessarily want to do business with these people. So it's straight to the block list, hence why my block list is quite long. Relist the item, then wait the 4 days and hit them up with a buyer hasn't paid. eBay does something I call bullshit on that. I think it's don't know what that was. I honestly think it's just smoke and mirrors, just eBay trying to appease us without actually taking action on these people. But that's not to say that I'm going to deal with them. Like I'm saying, is I block them. I know Blake in the past has had people reach out to him and said, hey, look, I know I'm on your block list. Please unblock me. Then bought something and left him negative feedback. So really, you're inviting trouble if you're engaging with these people further. So don't. Like, once bitten, twice shy, get rid of them. Block them, go from that way. And I strongly advise anyone that does returns, for change of mind returns, left negative or neutral feedback, block them as well. If they are, like I said, consistent buyers, and I have had people, and I have said previously, Skylanders, they normally buy 10, 15, and some people buy obscene amounts of Skylanders. I'm talking about $600 in an order. They might reach out to me and say, hey, look, this Skylander broke. That one I showed with this sword, it broke in transit. That might be his 4th order of, $300, $400, $500 orders of Skylanders. I'm going to go, cool, no worries. I'll either refund your money or I will source another one for you. I won't block them because, like I said, they're consistent. If they constantly come back, and I did have one at a time that I did block, he was doing 10, 15 Skylanders at a time. We're talking about $2 or $3, $4, $5 Skylander, so nothing big ticket. Then every order he put one in saying, hey, look, this one's not working or this one's broken. Until it got to the point where, statistically speaking, that's impossible because I test them before I list them. I test them after I sell them. So in the sense that, once they're in the tub, they get tested just quite quickly by Ava, just to see if they're working. And the way that I pack these things is that they don't move. So unless they're being hit by a forklift, like I said, I called bullshit on him after the 3rd time of it happening. It always come back to the same thing. This one's broken, or this one's broken, or this one's not working. So I would fix him up one way or another, and then, like I said, blocked him and moved on from there because he wasn't making big ticket sales. Like I was saying, that he always left positive feedback. However, like I said, it is that once or twice I would have been benefit of the doubt. However, once we get to that 3 or 4 times, every time, without sending pictures, like I would have been equally happy if you had sent me a picture on. I can show and tell. If you had the character sitting on the portal, you know, the screen where it basically says it doesn't read, or sent me a picture of the character broken. Yeah, I would have given him benefit of the doubt and say, hey, well, obviously there's something wrong with my listing, or something with my checking, or something like that, or possibly something wrong with his portal. But like I was saying, there was never one of those conversations where he said, look, yeah, here's the broken character, or here's what this thing is. So, like I said, sometimes you do need to block your customer base, you know, especially if they're going to be more problems than they're worth. So getting to the stuff at the back. So obviously I talked about the board games. This is, like I said, the very slow sell-through rate stuff. That box over there, the blue one, that's full of my Warhammer codexes, which are notoriously slow themselves. If you think of books in the sense of, you know, like first edition, second edition, third edition, you know, third printing, I mean, talking about like kind of things. Yeah, obviously the first edition one sells for more money. It's kind of similar in the Dungeons and Dragons and in kind of the Warhammer thing as well, as I find, is that if it's first edition, if it's first printing in that edition, it probably will go for a bit of money or will maintain its value. However, like someone in the comments said a couple of days ago, it might be Pepperoni's Pizza, that Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons, I don't know about Dungeons and Dragons, I haven't really got that far into it yet, but Warhammer might update its rule books every 3 or 4 years, which make the previous ones redundant. So they might go for about $50 now. A new version releases, everyone moves to that new version, and only the diehards play that, and the market's already flooded with this version. My arm's longer than I thought it was. So that might go to $15, $20. There are some books in there that are $20 plus post, and there's some books in there that are probably $100 plus post. They are notoriously slow. So what you see behind me, just because it's identical or it's very similar to what you see every time, doesn't necessarily mean I'm not selling anything. Like I said, my main store focus and my main sales are through Skylanders. This is stuff to either satisfy my appetite in respect to being an everything seller. I'm trying to stay to 2 niches, and also an emergency life raft if Skylanders go down tomorrow. Hypothetically, if they lose interest or they bring out a new Skylanders, or they might re-release all the Skylanders, which will never happen. Then these go from $50, $100, $200 characters to 20 cents. This gives me an option B. So if I can learn another niche that is quite sought after, quite high profit margin, quite easily to source for me, that gives me, like I said, a plan B, a plan to escape if I need to like move out of this niche. There's no use being number one in a dying niche that now is selling characters for 5 cents each. But yeah, like I was saying, is that this is quite sell-through. So the stuff there, that's the Treasure X stuff, but the stuff directly behind me, you probably can't see. It's all my video games, like a couple of Switch games, like I said, that generally I do pick up Japanese RPG games if they're on clearance for Switch. So generally speaking, what I found with the Nintendo 3DS, a lot of the obscure Japanese RPGs, which is JRPGs, if anyone wants to do that, they have a more higher sell-through rate. So your first-party Nintendo games, then generally speaking, your obscure Japanese RPGs, right? So they will probably, in most cases, appreciate. So I'm not talking about Final Fantasy, because that's mass-produced and everyone knows what that is. But this one here, just call it Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is a fantastic game, by the way. That was common in mud, and now it is out of print, and it's quite hard to do, and I have seen it go for about $200 a game. So I don't know if it's still up there. And there was one, it had a spin-off as well. You could buy the physical DLC on a Switch cartridge called Golden Age, or Torna Golden Age, I'm not too sure. And that was going for about $200 used for an Australian copy as well. So that's a Japanese RPG. Like I was saying, so they do hold some price points. Skylanders Skylanders Imaginators on the Switch goes for about $200-$300 just for the game itself. You don't need a portal for that. It just basically holds on one of your Switch dongles, the controllers. It's got an NFC reader in it because it reads your amiibos. Same thing for Imaginators. Put your game in, and that's how you read the game through that way. So yeah, like I say, from that way. But finally getting back to the topic. From the thumbnail I probably used as well, and I better talk about this as well, because heaven forbid I don't get to everything in the first 3 seconds. that big box you've probably seen here, sitting for the very, very long time. I finally listed on Facebook Marketplace. You've probably seen it all sprawled out on the ground. I did it as a bulk lot, right? And it was always the intention to do it as a bulk lot. It's just never that I've had an opportunity to get rid of it. I've got about 18 people messaging me, and even now my camera's going ballistic with little people coming through all the time, asking if it's available. Will I separate? No, I will not separate. Will I take 400 instead of 500? No, I won't take 4 out of 500 because I've got like 18 people like literally chomping at the bit to come and get it. So, like I said, what I normally do is actually try and move stuff on that I'm not interested in. So, got neighbours walking past. I'm surprised that Toby hasn't got ballistic. But yeah, like I'm saying, is that stuff that I don't necessarily deal in, I will blow it out. And it's probably conservatively probably $1,200, $1,800, $1,200, $1,800, probably $1,200 worth of stuff there. And another reseller will come and get it, and they'll sell it from that way. It also builds connections as well. So, one of the resellers that does deal with me in this space doesn't know I do YouTube, so I can talk about him. And I know it's a bit contradictory to what I said last time. I don't like dealing with him for the simple fact is he'll come round, he'll try and renegotiate when he's here. So if he says, all right, I'm happy to do 500, or he did give me an offer of 400. I'm in 2 months. I was in 2 months to say, yeah, I'll take 400 just to get rid of it. However, he'll come around and he'll start cracking the cases open and looking at the discs and all these different things. These discs are pristine. Like, these are the stuff that was in my eBay store. I'm very similar to, my games and my DVDs and all those different peripherals and all these different things. Very similar stance in with regards to my Skylanders, right? If it's acceptable condition, I don't want to list it. There are situations where I probably would list acceptable conditions if it works, and it's an uber rare game. I'm not going to throw that out. So long story short, he'll go through all the discs and all these different things and try and negotiate when he sees. So I don't like dealing with people like that. More than happy to go through a sample size. There's probably 7, I think I counted 200 games there or something along that. He's more than welcome to go through a sample and say, hey, look, these are all good quality. Consistently speaking, they're going to be across the board, right? But obviously people. There will be people in the comment section, disagreeing with that. Obviously, $500, all those sort of things. But like I said, I've dealt with this guy numerous times before, and he's just a pain in the ass. But he's reached out to me and goes, hey, look, I know you're interested in Skylanders. I've seen that because I did put in the post, would possibly consider trade for Skylanders. And he said, hey, what would you take for, Skylanders? Got about 400 or 500 Skylanders here. And so this works in reverse, right? So, I think I'm probably about that $4 mark per an item for this bulk lot, which is quite acceptable, right? There are stuff in there probably get you $10 plus postage, and there's stuff in there probably get you $80, $90 plus postage. So he goes, I know you sell on eBay, what do you do for Skylanders? And I said, it really depends on the character. It depends on the character. He's like, oh, well, just say it goes for $20 on eBay, what would you give me for it? And it's like, I get this all the time. So if you are reaching out to me to selling Skylanders, have an idea of what you want to get for the item. It is infinitely easy for me to say, hey, look, you've got a tub of Skylanders, send me a photo, and I'll say, how much are you looking for it? Then you might say, $100. And I'll say, look, I'll give you $200 because there is or $300 because there's infinitely rare characters in there. I'm going to make a killing. I don't want to shortchange you. So I normally float around at 25% if it's a good deal, right? This guy hasn't given me any photos, constantly pressuring me to give him a figure. He goes, would you do 25%? And I was like, 25% is probably my base rate, for characters. But I really, really, really need to see what they are. Because like I said this before, I don't pay for any broken characters. If it's a broken character, you'll give him that for free or you put it in the bin. Because I don't want it. There's probably 2 or 3 characters that I will pay for broken characters. And primarily because they're that rare, I probably could make a couple of $100 on them, even being broken. And that's quite acceptable in the reselling community. In the Skylander community because of the rarity. People would be happy to uptrade their stuff. And like we've spoke about before, is someone that they might pay $200 for Robo, that may go for $600, $700 in really good condition. Then what they'll do is I'll keep that $200 one because it works. And I have done this in a couple of weeks ago, and I did mention that a couple of weeks ago that I did sell a dead character. The character was perfectly fine, it just wasn't working. And the buyer, I reached out to him and I said, "You do realise it doesn't work?" He was like, "Hey, look, I just want to use it as a collector piece." Perfect. But yeah, like going back to the chip would work. The character might be just missing an arm or missing something on it. It's that rare that the person would get it just so they could play the character, just so they could own the character or say that they've owned the character, because there's a bit of a bragging rights in the Skylander community. However, when another one comes along, they can uptrade there. So the one that they bought off me, like it's missing an arm, for example, then what they'll do is they'll basically get the better one and sell their old one off. But like I said, there's only 2 or 3 characters that I would even consider that for. So broken characters, I'm not interested. They go in that box and they get either thrown out, donated, or whatever. They go from that way. But yeah, going back to this guy. So, like I say, I don't know if I mentioned before, he'll come here at literally try and cut me down like it's a garage sale or something like this. However, when I put the pressure on him and say, "Hey, look, realistically, I'm not giving you a price until I see the character. All that goes on eBay for $20. What would you give me for it?" And I was like, "Which character?" So then he said Wormshell, right? So yes, Wormshell goes for $40 on eBay, which is bullshit. I sell Wormshell for $20 plus post, and if you buy 3 or 4 more characters, you get 10% off. So just hypothetically speaking, I sell them for $18, and just say an extra $2 for postage because it's capped at $10 if you're in Australia. So I sell them at $20. He goes, "Well, he's $40 on eBay. Would you do, $10, $15?" And it's like, no, like I haven't seen the character, mate, and you're going off the highest sold listing. Maybe on TerraPeak or something like this. The character may have been at $30, $40 at one point in time. However, and this is what I do find as well, and I have said it as well in the past, is that people reach out to me, primarily resellers, and this is not a dig at anyone in particular. This is generally across the board. I have two. It's very binary in the sense of people selling their Skylanders. I've had 2 or 3 reach out yesterday. From Melbourne, from Dubbo, and a couple of other places as well. They're like, "Mate, do you buy Skylanders?" Like, "Yes." And they're like, "I've got a tub. Yeah, do you want it? It's going to be $100. And I'll look at it and go, "Holy crap, this is a really decent Skylander lot." But then I'll have other people, and I think I mentioned it the other day, that she sends me a picture of 5 really generic characters that CEX will probably give you 5 cents for. I said, "Look, really the best case scenario," and I probably shortchanged myself, "I could give you $25 postage just to try and open that communication up, try to make more headwinds in a certain space to get some more positive feedback to say, hey, look, I've dealt with Josh before and he's fantastic. He's really good to deal with." She called me a scammer. She told me that I was too tight, all these different things. So she'll be forever and a day trying to sell these Skylanders. This is probably in her will if they got that mentality. Like, very similar. They'll use eBay as a primary listing. They'll say, "Well, it sells for eBay for $100. Well, no, it doesn't. It sells for $2 plus postage. Look at the infinite amount of ones that I've sold on TerraPeak. But you can't tell these people because they've got it in their mind and go from that way. So in that situation, what I do is say, "Look, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for that," and move away. Just I'll leave the group or something along the lines of that. But like I was saying, you've got 2 sides of the stick. So you'll have someone that, will literally throw it away, like the guy in Canberra that reached out to me with what and a lot of these portals came from him as well. For $500 for probably 3 or 4 grand worth of Skylanders. Or on the flip side is that someone's got like $5. Realistically, I'd be overpaying at $5 worth of Skylanders, and they want $100 for. So, not to say that everyone's like that. Not to say I'm pointing fingers at anyone particular, but if you're selling to a reseller, like I said in a previous video as well, is you really need to know the price point, right? They're not going to be paying eBay prices. They're not going to be paying, all these different things. I may pay up in certain situations if you've got an ongoing supply. You can get an ongoing supply for me, because I might want to say, hey, well, look, I really want to be the preferred, buyer of choice if you get Skylanders. So I have put this proposition to the Salvos and Vinnies. I will pay up for your Skylanders. You come to me first, whatever I don't want, then you can sell from that way. But needless to say, it's falling on deaf ears. But that's fine. It's their prerogative. Probably easier to sell that way as well. But getting back to the portals before I get sidetracked. Before I get into that. So my pepperoni pizza, did mention it, Yokai 3. I'm going to pick that up tonight. What I was saying about before is the reason why I said the US copies is because the 3DS games are region locked to different areas. So the USA are region locked primarily to North America and South America. Australia is like Australia, New Zealand, and Europe and all these different things, and Japan. What I was saying the other day about Yokai Watch 2, Psychic Spectres, the US version is almost better than getting the Australian version, right? So I did pick up the Australian version, listed it for $200. But if you had the American version of that, it's probably about that $400 Australian. So be mindful of that. So long story short, going back to the auction that I was talking about, and I'm jumping all over the place today, talking about the auction thing. So I ended up finishing about $365.17. Put it in the comments if you know. If you're new at reseller, type in Yokai Watch 3, put it in the comment section below, and impress me with your sold listings. Let's see if you can find it. So long story short, so I'm going to sit down. Bloody, might as well. That's what the table's for. If I see how fat I am. So, with the sold listing and with Americas, and this is what I was telling you before, is that slide the table. I am too fat. It's going to start knocking things over. Getting American copies. So this guy that I'm picking it up from tonight, I've already paid for it, done local pickup because it's a $400 game. I don't want to throw it away. I'm going to take a photo tomorrow morning in natural light, which I normally do, and I'm going to list it straight at $800 Australian. So I'm pretty much going to almost double my money on this sale. I have gone to pricecharting.com, which is basically a website that does your price charting across games and Funko Pops and Lego and all these other things. You can go across there and look at your things. That's what Heck and Steve keeps carrying on about. These resellers don't look at pricecharting.com, rah, rah, rah. But he's also a GameStop sycophant, so each to their own. So long story short, I'm literally probably going to double my money on this because there is no copies available in America yet that I can find. There's probably one or two that I haven't found yet. However, the ones that have been selling have been around that $800 Australian, which is about $500 American. So keep an eye out. If people do put things in the comment section, if I say things, keep an eye out for those things. Like I said, there are things that I sell that I do keep on the down low. There are other things that other people on YouTube sell and keep on the down low as well. But occasionally, I just sold an Apple TV. I'll tell you about that in a sec. Occasionally, people will come out and let something slip, then potentially destroy that market. And you can just be very mindful of the facts that go there. If I'm talking about Skylanders, or people are talking about books, or people are talking about DVDs, or people are talking about CDs and all those different things, they probably either control that market or that market's flooded. So take it into a grain of salt. If you do follow your favorite YouTuber, and please don't lump me in with that thing. I'm more for my own entertainment opposed to yours. But if someone talks about books, or they talk about Skylanders, they talk about DVDs or CDs, they probably control the market, or they've already flooded that market. So I know Beard from the Profit Playbook podcast, oh geez, I'm going good today with my names, mentioned about a Monopoly game that he talked about. One of his viral videos that had millions and millions of views. He'd already exited his position when this video came out. So he made a killing on these Monopoly games. He sold them off, didn't have any more, talked about them. Then people, obviously tried to flood the market with this board Monopoly game, which just say it went from $100 to probably about $20 with free postage, just because it became very well known and every man and their dog jumped on it. This is what I've said numerous times, and geez, 43 minutes. I was doing a podcast for myself, and this is what I've said numerous times, is that really, 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 really do your research. See if the supply outweighs the demand. With those Squid Game cookies, I was going great guns. Like I said, the demand tapered off, so I'm not selling them quite as quick. However, I do forecast the demand will spike back up around July or August, whenever the second part of the season comes out. Or alternatively, guess what? They're good for Halloween cookies. I could dress up as one of the, either the front man. I'll probably dress up as the front man, actually. Maybe the Octopus will dress up as the front man, and I'll dress up as the circle. And just hand them out for kids for Halloween. I've really made a profit on these things at the moment. Not a considerable profit, because I've still got a ton in stock. However, like I said, that they're not going to be wasted. I do forecast that they probably will go towards, like I said, when the second part of the season comes out, or when that hype comes up again, because people will go back to season 1 before the second part of season 2, and they do like a binge watch. Same thing with Stranger Things, right? So once Stranger Things comes out, you'll find Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer and all these different nerd-centric culture stuff will start spiking again, primarily because people will go back to season 1 of Stranger Things and work their way up to the new season coming out. I think I really talk about. So my purpose of this video is actually sit here. I do have some cable ties, and this is what I recommend if you are selling electronics. Don't. Geez, this one's good. Just get some like Velcro, and don't use that as a keyword. You'll get a zero if you're new reselling. Jeez. So these are Velcro cable ties, right? So if you're like me, yeah, if I had like a normal cable tie, that I would try and cut it and cut the cord. Then I'd have the buyers sort of go, "Oh, the cord was cut." Yeah, because they did it. Then they'll try and do an INAD from that way. These are about $1 a packet. I could probably get them bulk off eBay for probably cents on the dollar. Just not that way inclined, and I probably will do that in the future. Future editing, Josh, remind me to do that. But I used to use rubber bands, but what I would find is the portals would sit there because, like I said, I didn't do anything with them, and the rubber band would snap. Then I'd have all the cords everywhere and all these different things. But with these, they will stay on forever and a day. They look more impressive. They just basically rip off, so people aren't going to be cutting them. And rubber bands aren't going to be snapping and flicking them in the eye when they get their portal. But I will tell you some portals. Might as well make it about Skylanders as well, because that's all I know. So this is what you would class as an Imaginators portal. So Imaginators and Superchargers, which is the last two games of the Skylanders franchise, are very similar. They're the same portal, right? So basically what they've done in this one, they've actually covered the trap slot. This is the Imaginator one. So this is just a generic one. This will work on the PlayStation or Wii. They cover the trap slot, so you just place the stuff on the ground or on there. So if you compare it to the Superchargers one, which has got the trap slot, right? So these ones here, they probably go for about $20, $25 mark, depending on what it is. It's both just generic portals. These are the ones you want to be looking out for. These are called Trap Team, right? These are the Traptanium portals. They got the little portal in the little trap hole in the front, and the white thing will actually, it's got LED through the white thing, and it'll actually glow. A lot of the earlier portals, so like stuff like this does glow. They glow the colors. And what I did find out after a long time, because I'm very slow, they'll actually glow the color of the element of the Skylander. So the Skylanders Earth will go brown. If it's like magic, will go purple. All these different things, right? So I'm not going to go through all the different elements. But the portal around here will do that element change, right? So they basically go from that way. The reason why these ones are so sought after and very expensive, Xbox One, I have seen them go for $200. I don't know if they're selling at that rate. But like I was saying, I'm going to destroy the market in the sense that if I don't get traction, I'm going to bring the prices down to what I'm happy with, decimate the people in the sense that it's not worth their time to sell, that once they're out of the market, I will move the prices back up. And very similar to what the Skylanders is, right? When I first started talking about Skylanders, just say in November, October, whatever I did, and it's been a long time since I've been speaking to Skylanders. From the start, I've always been telling people, hey, don't jump into Skylanders. You're really rolling upstream. You've got a lot of things working against you, especially if you sell broken ones or job lots, or you don't know the themes, you don't know the characters, you don't know what they look like, you haven't tested them. Like I was saying, you've got lots of things working against you. Needless to say, no one took my advice, and there was people flooding the market with Skylanders left, right, and centre. If I type in Skylanders now, because I do have a search history that basically I check a couple of times a day, which goes listed by newest first. What I do is I check it. The amount of people uploading Skylanders is pretty much a quarter of what it was last year. So I'm talking about, not talking about Q4, I'm talking about August, September, maybe July even. So people are starting to, I'm not going to say get the message. I'm not trying to be egotistical, even though I sound like I am. I'm legitimately trying to do you a favour, right? I'm saying, hey, there's nothing wrong with selling Skylanders, but you need to take that extra mile to learn the Skylanders to be competitive in that market. The top three, the people that sell Skylanders, and I'm losing my voice again, are the top three for the simple fact is they set the market, like I was talking about before with the portals. Basically, if one character goes for $100, we might drop it down to $75 to set the new price floor for that particular character. We test the characters. We make sure we look for blemishes. We do not sell characters that are, second rate. I mean, they're going to have blemishes, right? So they might have a little pen mark on the bottom or a little scratch and stuff on the lines. That's generally to be accepted because of the age of these products. However, if you're selling ones with arms missing, or you're trying to do your own super glue job and all these different things, you're really inviting issues like iron ads and all these different things. And I have said before, I've reached out to people and said, hey, that's not the character you think it is. It's actually the common variant that goes for $2. They've told me to piss off. They've told me you must be fun at parties, all these different things. And the simple fact is, yes, I shouldn't be reaching out to these people. I should let them fall on their face and crash and burn and get negative feedback and learn the hard way. However, they are damaging the reputation of everyone selling Skylanders on eBay. Not just them. Yes, they're going to fly by night, basically list their character and piss off. However, if they do that, the buyer gets that character. It's not the one that they're expecting. Case in point, like there's a well, they're called light core, and they basically a little bit of the Skylander glows up. One of them holds a bottle like a potion, which glows green, and the other one he holds it in his other hand, which doesn't glow. One that he holds it in his other hand is about $2, and the one where he holds it in his hand is probably about a $50 character, right? So these are the things. If that person buys that one expecting to get the one that glows, they have to reach out to the seller, put an iron ad in, probably get a verbal spray, like I said previously, and all these different things. And obviously that's a bad buying experience, which is eBay absolutely loves. Then what happens is they probably don't come back to eBay, and they probably don't come and spend money with me or you or whoever else in regards to Skylanders, because they had that one time they were burnt. So that's primarily the reason why I said, hey, look, there's nothing. I'm not trying to persuade people from selling Skylanders, not trying to persuade people from selling board games, whatever it is. You just need to take that extra step to be competitive. If you're not going to be the best in the category or strive to be the best in the category, don't be in the category. Like, that's probably the biggest thing I could give you as a takeaway, is that if you don't want to be the best, or if you don't want to be the Tekken sport of Skylanders, you don't want to be the Tekken sport of golf clubs, I don't care what it is, you're better off not selling in that category or not selling on eBay at all, because you're literally going to lose money in the long run, right? I've seen it happen numerous times with Lego. I've had it numerous times with Skylanders and all these different things. But people, they romanticize when I talk about I sold a $1,000 character. But they come across that character 3 times. So they think it's common as mud. They get $1,000 when they go to the thrift shop, or they go to the op shop, or the op shop thinks that they can get $1,000 for this broken character. Like I was saying, you really, really, really need to learn the market. Like I said before, and not being derogatory, the people that buy off me would be on the spectrum, right? And they expect their characters to be pristine, expect it to be perfect. And the reason why they are buying from me, because they know that the characters, if there is an issue, that Josh won't question it. He'll send me a new character or send me a refund for a $5 character. Or he'll basically give me exactly what I want. I've had someone put on there saying it had a slight mark on it, but it works. It took every grain of my being to not block that person because we're American, so the likelihood of an international buyer coming back is quite rare. But it does say that in my listing, in the item specifics, and also the item description as well. Basically saying these are pre-owned characters; they've been pre-loved. There probably was an 8-year-old kid that absolutely loved this character, but his little sister may have put the slightest bit of a pen mark on him, but it still works perfectly. It's still good. From that way. But like I was saying, you can't please everyone. You're still left for positive feedback, but like I was saying, it kind of irks me when people don't read. But everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. But like I was saying, is that you really, really, really need to know your market. If your market does have special needs, or they're on the spectrum, or they're that way inclined, find out what they want. Maybe do a customer survey. Reach out to them and say, hey, look, if you're happy to answer a couple of questions, I'll give you a 20% off coupon. That not only will give them return buyer, but they'll also find out the issues that they do. Do you like Skylanders? Yes, I do. What do you like about Skylanders? I like where they work. All right. What do you think about broken Skylanders? I don't want broken Skylanders. There you go. That's basically the way you do it, and go from that way. But a lot of people, and I would dare say 99.9% of the people that do get into niches, don't spend enough time to learn the niche. They just want to jump in because they've watched